Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network, and the only podcast that drinks Paul Heyman's Kool-Aid. I'm your host, the Mordecai of microphone, Brand Marlow, and as always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
Hello, friends. How are we?
Ready to stand out those bloody redcoats.
Oh, fuck. I was hoping we weren't going to keep talking about that.
Oh, it was just such a great line from Vince that, it needs to be immortalised.
Yeah, he's a smart man.
The other voice you hear on this podcast is the IMDb of wrestling, Nathan Marlow.
Hello, how are we all after a big weekend of wrestling?
Good, mate.
Yeah, it was pretty big. We had the NXT Combine. That was, whew.
That was pretty good. And we got the Mustafa Ali Chronicle. Yeah, because this is a WWE only podcast.
There was wasn't there, they did some documentary about Eric Bischoff trying to revive WCW?
Yeah, WCW Untold.
Yeah, could find out about that. I don't know how there's much to speak about that. It's just like I tried to buy it and then the WCW got cancelled, so it was no point.
Because the WWE have now picked our podcast up and we're in the WWE Podcast Network.
Oh, hell yeah. Maybe they can help us get back our episodes of Hog Wild and also the final WCW episode.
The lost in the archives, as they say.
Wouldn't happen if we had the production team that makes like up, down, down and that kind of stuff. So this week on the podcast, we are reviewing the infamous InVasion pay-per-view. It was a close race in the Twitter poll, but it just managed to edge out the debut episode of Velocity to get the win. So had either of you boys seen this pay-per-view before?
No, I've steered clear of it for whatever reason. I don't know why. I like watching early 2000s pay-per-views, but just never watched this one.
There's no Goldberg involved in the invasion, so there's no point.
I know, if they had the top WCW star of all time, then maybe I would have paid attention to it, but...
What about you?
So what you're really saying is the invasion started Backlash 2003 or the night after WrestleMania 19.
Exactly.
I think
the nail on the head.
It truly started when he came back because he was going to be on the cover of the video game. That's when the invasion truly started.
That is very true. But getting back to it, yes, I have seen this before. And I think I enjoyed it this time around more than I did the other time for some reason. I think I just had to pay a bit more attention.
Yeah, I think I'm with you too. I did rewatch it when I was trying to rewatch like all the early 2000 pay-per-views, and I remember just being kind of underwhelmed by it. But yeah, I did kind of dig it a little bit more this time around. Second time's the charm, as they say.
Well, it's just WWE versus the two pissant companies.
Oh, fucking couple of t-shirt companies, I tell you what.
Exactly right. That's what all they were wearing, those WCW shirts.
Well, something that this WCW and AEW have in common is that they both have dog shit ref shirts.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's true, yeah.
But the history and build-up and background for Invasion 2001, this pay-per-view was held on July 22nd, 2001, and on this day in history, David Duval wins the British Open golf event. Francis Horvich, an American educator and television personality who, I shit you not, starred in Ding Dong School. That's no word of a lie. Apparently, that's a thing.
What a movie television show.
what a thing.
Exactly right.
But yeah, Francis dies at age 94. Fucking long life for Francis, and he's Ding Dong School. I assume it's a man. Could be a woman. I don't know. We've also got Indro Montanelli, an Italian journalist and historian, known for writing History of the Greeks, dying at 92. We then have the number one film at the box office, being Jurassic Park 3, and the top song on the charts was Lady Marmalade by Christina Aguilera, featuring Lil Kim and Pink. Just a real absolute superstar come-together moment for 2001 there. That's
the who's who of the music world.
Lil Kim, best known for singing Trish Stratus' entrance music.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's some good trivia for you.
The location for this huge pay-per-view was none other than Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, which couldn't think of anywhere better to hold an event of this magnitude. I hope The Miz was in attendance there. Probably wasn't, actually. He probably was on the Real World at this point in time.
Yeah, probably doing his thing.
Just running around, just saying hoorah.
Might have had LeBron in there, you never know.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he would come there with one of the sponsors who are like, nah, we're not tampering with him. We're just taking him along to a big wrestling event. The attendance for this pay-per-view was 17,019. The pay-per-view buy rate was a staggering 770,000. It goes without saying that this is the highest-grossing non-WrestleMania event of all time for the WWE, and it's not too surprising considering this was a pretty big event at the time, bringing together the three most prominent American wrestling companies. So the build-up to this, several months earlier, Vince McMahon successfully bought WCW, and on the final ever Monday Nitro essentially began the invasion angle, with Shane McMahon announcing that he had purchased the company from out under his father. Lance Storm became the first WCW wrestler to appear on WWF programming by performing a run-in during a match on the May 28 episode of Raw. Hugh Morris made his WWF debut on the June episode of Raw by attacking Edge. At King of the Ring on June 24th, Booker T interfered during the Triple Threat main event match for the WWF Championship and almost cost Stone Cold the title. However, he overcomes the odds and still gets the win. Additionally, Austin legitimately suffered fractured bones in his hand from the side slam he took from Booker T onto an announce table. The next night on Raw, a confrontation occurred between Shane and Vince McMahon. While Vince was in the ring, Booker T came from behind to deliver a scissor kick to Vince. The WWF roster ran to the ring to aid Vince, but Booker T and Shane McMahon escaped through the crowd. This incident marked the official start of the invasion storyline. The WCW Tag Team Champions, Chuck Palumbo and my boy Sean O'Haire, would make their WWF debuts on June 28 by invading SmackDown and attacking the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys during a tag team match, before fleeing after WWF wrestlers came after them in the ring. As they were exiting the arena, they were attacked from behind by other WWF wrestlers led by Hardcore Holly and the APA. The WWF eventually began to recognise WCW and tested the idea of a brand extension by giving WCW the final 20 minutes of an episode of Raw, with Scott Hudson and Arn Anderson taking over the announcing duties in place of JR and Paul Heyman. During the match between Buff Bagwell and Booker T for the WCW Championship, Kurt Angle and then WWF champion Stone Cold Steve Austin would interfere in retaliation by beating Booker T up. Bagwell would join Angle and Austin in attacking Booker. This match was poorly received by the audience in attendance at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. In a podcast interview with Stone Cold in 2015, Bagwell expressed his suspicions of the WWF's true plans for the WCW product, stating his confusion as to why his match with Booker T took place in Tacoma, Washington, which was a pro-WWF area, instead of the following week's Raw show at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, which was the former stomping grounds of WCW, where the match likely would have received a more positive fan reception. I still haven't heard a good reason why that happened. Like, I'm pretty sure Bruce Pritchard was like, "No, we had to do it then and there," but he didn't really give any reason why they couldn't have waited a week later when it definitely would have gone over better. I've never understood that. It wouldn't make sense that they just want to fucking tank it, because why even dedicate time on your show to it? But yeah, it's never really made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
On the July 9 episode of Raw, Kane was scheduled to face Mike Awesome and Lance Storm in a handicap match. Chris Jericho would come out and offer to be Kane's partner, turning it into a tag team match. Near the end of this match, Jericho would lock in the Walls of Jericho on Storm. As the move was being applied, RVD and Tommy Dreamer would run through the crowd and into the ring and start to beat down Kane and Jericho. In response, WWF wrestlers consisting of the Dudley Boys, Tazz, Justin Credible, Rhino and Raven, all former ECW wrestlers, ran to the ring. After a brief standoff, the WWF cavalry turned around and attacked Kane and Jericho. This prompted Paul Heyman to leave the announce table and enter the ring. He announced that ECW had been brought into the invasion. So that basically brings us to this show. The number of dead people on this card is 3. They're all members of the Alliance. It's Mike Awesome, Sean O'Haire, and Chris Kanyon. That's a bit of a change considering we've been covering recent stuff where people have been alive, so it's nice to see some dead wrestlers.
Nice to see, I love it.
It is, it's just, you always got to pay tribute to the dead wrestlers like Chris Jericho did to Chris Benoit yesterday.
Wait, he did? What?
You didn't see that?
No.
His tights that he was wearing yesterday,
Yeah.
I saw someone on Twitter speculate, they're like, are those Chris Benoit tribute tights? And then later, several hours later, after the show was done, Jericho retweeted somebody being like, Oh, most people probably wouldn't have caught this, but I saw that these tights were a tribute to Chris Benoit, and he retweeted that.
That's weird.
So yeah, and he wore those tights at Wrestle Kingdom as well. So yeah, shout out to my good friend, the family murderer.
Yeah.
I mean, I already knew Chris Jericho was a bit of a fucking dipshit, so it doesn't surprise me too much. So, on Sunday Night Heat, we would see Chavo Guerrero defeat Scotty 2 Hotty to, get the first win of the night.
And it counts. It counts.
Unlike last year, I should say, at Survivor Series, where the pre-show did not count between Raw and SmackDown. This did count. So, they're just making it up whenever they want, whether the pre-show counts or not. But, I guess Sunday Night Heat's more important than the kickoff show, sponsored by Mountain Dew Kickstart. So the actual show starts off by comparing the WCW and WWF war to real-life World Wars. Pretty good comparison, if you ask me. I think they're on the same level of seriousness.
Yeah, it's wrestling. It's real.
Well,
Hitler couldn't take a fucking ankle slam if he fucking wanted to. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I just wrote, I love this US Army induction boot camp video package. Really got me hyped to join the army, and a bit of the hard eyes react to the sponsoring of PlayStation.
Oh yeah, PlayStation 2. I was like, oh geez, PlayStation 2 in 2001, but yeah.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 really knew this was the event to get in on.
I mean, it probably would have been one of the more expensive events to get your product on.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, they knew this was going to be a huge blow.
They knew that it would be as big as it was.
Of course they did.
Because I could see them being like, oh, it'll be big, but they still offer a decent rate, and then turns out you get 770,000 people just...
Nah, I reckon it was decent.
Well, the show kicks off with Christian and Edge defeating Lance Storm and Mike Awesome via pinfall. The opening match goes 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and Meltzer gives it 2.5 stars.
To get off to a great start for either team. Team WWF or the opposition. Oh, look at this! Christian! Spearman Awesome! Right edge up top! Edge hooks the leg! Edge and Christian! Strike first! And invasion!
Storm and Awesome actually get a jobber entrance here, so it's a good start for the alliance. Storm tries to cut a promo, but they're quickly interrupted. Christian comes out holding Edge's King of the Ring trophy. Christian then damn near kills himself doing a dive to the outside. Mike Awesome hits a frog splash on Christian, but Edge breaks up the pinfall. Awesome attempts a top rope powerbomb, but Christian reverses it into a back body drop. Edge hits a spear on Awesome, but Storm breaks up the count. Awesome then attempts a powerbomb on Edge, but Christian runs in and hits a spear, allowing Edge to get the pin. What did you guys think of the opener here?
I thought this was a really good opener. They worked a really solid match. The hot tag built to a pretty fun finish, and the crowd was into it the whole way through, so I didn't really have any complaints. I wish Lance Storm could have been a little more serious at the start. And you're right, Christian fucked up that dive pretty badly. That kind of scared me, but I think were they referring to them as the Coalition during this pay-per-view?
When you say Coalition, that means the opposition side.
I know, but flipping them between the Coalition and the Alliance.
Yeah.
Which I'm fucking glad they chose the Alliance. The Coalition sounds so stupid. I don't know.
It sounds like real corporate, like something corporate Kane would have been involved in.
Yeah. But the entrance the entrance stage for this pay-per-view looked really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well.
Bit of AEW and Impact
the
about
tunnels.
But yeah, it was really cool. And we saw later with the RVD and Jeff Hardy match was. They were able to use the setup, sort of drop down in the middle.
Yeah, onto the concrete.
Yeah, so I don't really have any complaints. I thought it wasn't the greatest match of all time, but they opened the show with some pretty good action, so pretty good stuff.
What were your thoughts, Nat?
Well, I think this match was better than 2.5 stars. I was really enjoying this match. I enjoyed it heavily. Big fan of Mike Awesome's work. I went back and I've watched a few of his matches. I thought Christian carrying Edge's trophy to the ring was hilarious because it's really setting the seeds for what's to come later on, where they turn on each other. That was cool. I just wanted to mention Lance Storm, what a worker, very unappreciated since he doesn't make a whole lot of WWE appearances, and I think it's very underrated. And everyone should check out Brody's Lance Storm Tweet of the Week segment.
Oh. That's my favourite thing that we do.
I mean, he's always got something good to say, so that's good. As you said, the Christian botch, the botches that dive to the outside, that was just an ouchie moment. Probably put a band-aid on that one. There was some seeds of the Un-Americans here with Storm and Christian. I mean, that's to come pretty soon. I thought Lance Storm throwing Christian under the bottom rope into the post was a fucking sick spot.
Yeah, I did like that. That was,
It was real. There was real power behind it, and actually felt like it meant something. There was Mike Awesome, which, pardon the pun, hits a very awesome frog splash, and big fan of his frog splash. He gets some decent height for a big man. And the cool little roll up switch, that was pretty cool. Thought the match was going to end there, and then Christian Spears Awesome for the win. And I was just invested the whole time with this match. I loved it. I'd probably give it like 3.5, maybe even 4 stars. I just thought it had me on my toes, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement here. I thought this was a really good match. All 4 men are just great workers, so predictably, the result is you get a far more than serviceable match. It's nothing spectacular, but I mean, it's essentially a throwaway tag. I don't think there was that much heat between the two teams going into this, but for what they get, I think it's pretty damn good. Shout out to Mike Awesome doing just like high spots and shit. I feel like the early 2000s was just the prime era for real big hosses doing moves off the top rope. You got Sean O'Hare here doing fucking flippy shit. Mike Awesome.
Hey, if you're into that, just go watch all the Masato Tanaka matches with Mike Awesome. Go watch all of them. They're all just high spots with Mike Awesome.
So do I have to dig into some of that ECW hardcore TV?
Yeah, they're some really good fucking matches.
Pricey and I are pretty familiar with watching some ECW on the old network.
Yeah, I mean, their segment of Bueller's Box is just brilliant.
Yeah,
quality content.
Good segment.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It was good enough to get Stuart to stop playing Counter-Strike for 5 seconds and come down and have a watch.
I mean, that's pretty hard, so it must have been freaking good.
It's
good TV.
Yeah, it takes a lot to drag him away from that, but Bueller managed it. I also got a kick out of finding out during this match that the referees for each match would decide via coin toss. They didn't need to say that at all, but it addressed the question of...
Yeah, that's pretty good that they did that still.
I mean, they don't really do that anymore, where they just tie up those little loose ends that people might question. So
yeah, I mean, they didn't really tell us who lifted the briefcase from Austin.
I think it's up to you to decide that one.
So it was Test.
It was always Test. Test was the one that ran over Teddy Long in SmackDown vs. Raw too.
Fuck! I knew it. I never finished the story.
Well, any final thoughts before we move on from the opener?
No, just really good stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. They should have had an actual proper tag run. It's a couple of serious boys.
Exactly.
After the match, we cut backstage to see Vince celebrating the win. William Regal then interrupts and he says Stone Cold has arrived with Deborah. Vince tells him to go prepare for his match with Raven later on the night. We then get arguably the greatest match to grace this incredible sport. It's Earl Hebner defeating Nick Patrick via pinfall with special guest referee Mick Foley. It goes 2 minutes and 50 seconds and...
Can't believe it wasn't rated.
Dave Meltzer does not rate this match. So...
Wow.
Earl Hebner slowly making it to his feet. Nick Patrick jaw-jacking with Mick Foley. Look at Earl! Earl taking Patrick down! The cover! There's 2! He got him! Earl Hebner! Earl Hebner defeats Nick Patrick!
Surprisingly, we get a promo package for this match. Apparently, this whole issue started over where the WCW refs could put their shirts in the locker room. We do get to see Lil Nate punch a dude in this video package, though, so... I mean, it was definitely worth it. So Nick Patrick makes his entrance and comes out with a bunch of WCW refs, and then the same goes for Earl Hebner.
A bunch of WCW refs. It was 4-on-7.
Was it actually 4-on-7? Was it that lopsided?
Yes. Fucking hell. Well, shit.
Well, to be fair, I think that they had all the notable WCW refs. I feel like they fired all of the ones that were of no-no. Because you got Nick Patrick there. Lil Nate is there. I'm pretty sure Brian Hebner was there as well.
Yeah.
So it's you've got the ones that actually matter there, and then I'll just fire the rest. Mick Foley ejects the WCW refs from ringside. Nick Patrick then begins arguing with Mick Foley over this, which allows Hebner to hit a god-awful spear for the win. After the match, Foley gives Nick Patrick the mandible claw. What did you guys think of this bout between the refs?
Before I get into the brilliance of the match, I just questioned Mick Foley. Is he even really a special guest referee at this point? Because the amount of matches he's refereed, he might as well just take it up as a full-time job.
Genuinely, I think it's between him and Shawn Michaels for guys who are technically wrestlers but could probably go down as just your ref.
You might as well. Like he's refereed that many matches that I've seen. It's just he's refereed more than bloody Earl Hebner. You would have thought. But the match itself, that's probably going to go down as one of the great moments in wrestling history. Better than Okada Omega. Just bell-to-bell storytelling and in-ring excellence. Honestly, it wasn't... There was a couple spots there where it didn't look as bad as I was thinking, but it wasn't Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner looked kind of insane out there, but they tried their best, and it is what it is. I think you can't really talk too much about the in-ring action.
What did you think, Nat?
Well, I want to get out of the way. It's not a story you think of when you think of an invasion, but it kind of makes sense. It's like, what do you do with their referees?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a story that needs to be told. I mean, to tell it on pay-per-view, not sure. Could have probably done it on a Raw or something.
Yeah, Raw main event probably close out the show.
The Earl Hebner fucking pop. Holy shit. Him getting a pop is just fucking weird. And I didn't really have any notes other than, did anyone see the fucking amazing clothesline by Jack Doan?
Nah.
Got to go back and watch that. Yeah, when they go out to the outside and start brawling, Jack Doan sprints, jumps, and clotheslines the WCW refs. Holy fuck, it's amazing.
Shout out to Jack Doan.
Yeah, I had to actually look it up because he's the one ref I really always forget his name. I had to go back.
Is Jack Doan the one... Was he the father of Nicholas?
No, John Cone.
Oh, it was John Cone. Okay, yeah.
Very similar names, though, when you think about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so this match wasn't terrible. I mean, it was 2 minutes 50. They didn't work as bad as I thought, and I guess it happened, and we have a resolution, I guess.
Well, honestly, I thought this was way better than a match between two referees should be. I didn't really remember this from the first time I watched through the pay-per-view, so I was like, oh god, this is going to be something. But, I don't know, it turned out not too bad. They thankfully, mercifully kept it pretty short and sweet. And watching this, Nick Patrick is a legit decent worker. Like, I was watching it and I was thinking, was he an actual wrestler before he became a referee? And so I had to look up his Pro Fight database, and I don't think he was, but he did wrestle like 3 or 4 matches prior to this. So, I mean, he had that little bit of experience, and I think it shows. Like, some of the punches he was throwing, I was like, these look better than some actual wrestlers' punches. Shout out Shane McMahon. Like,
That's the best in the world you're talking about, mate.
Oh, best, most lethal striker in the business. He's done that MMA training.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really liked Nick Patrick as a worker there, and Earl's not great. His spear for the finish is garbage, but I thought before that he was, decent enough for an old ass fucking non-wrestler. Like I said earlier, the WCW ref shirts are just complete garbage. And I also want to know what was up with the camera angle that they had. It was like mounted in the rafters, and they used it for both guys' entrances, and then never again on this show. It was like...
Maybe they just didn't like the look of it.
I think it's like... It's like the camera that they would use for the Dudley Boys pyro when it like kind of flies into the stage, but then they didn't even use it for that. So I was like, why did you bother mounting this up there? My final thought is just Earl Hebner wrestles better than he referees. He should. I think in AEW he should just fuck the refereeing off and just wrestle. His work matches with Jungle Boy.
Oh my god, he can manage Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. Oh man, what would you call him? Fuck, what a team.
But yeah, I honestly was dreading watching this match, but I don't know. It was a bit of entertainment. The crowd were fucking into it, which always helps. After this match, we get an ad for the next episode of Tough Enough, where they go to a strip club, and Maven has to dress up like a girl too, so make sure you don't miss that episode. Looks like it's action-packed. We then flash back to SmackDown, where DDP kidnaps Deborah. A huge brawl then breaks out backstage. We cut backstage to see Deborah unable to pour herself a coffee. Undertaker's ex-wife then calls DDP a pervert. She also looks a whole lot like Michelle McCool, so I guess the dead man's got a type.
No, but she dyed her hair here.
Did she really?
She had black hair on stage.
Did she really?
When they did the DDP stuff, she had black hair.
Undertaker Sarah, I'm going to have a look this up, because I
swear she did. And she would wear a bandana.
Yeah, she does have black hair here. With the bandana, yeah.
So I wasn't sure who it was until like the end of the promo, because I just pictured her with black hair. I just assumed this is some random lady in the back in catering.
She looks a whole lot like Michelle McCool, though. It's actually kind of scary. But yep, they're dicking around backstage, and she ends up calling Taker Mark, which, I mean, she sounds like the real Mark here for using the bloody shoot names on live television.
She hasn't been smartened up.
Shattering the illusion, I thought this man was dead and had been resurrected as a cool bike guy. But no, apparently his name's Mark. What a fucking dweeb name that is. We then, after this pretty unnecessary backstage segment, we get the APA defeating Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire via pinfall. It goes 7 minutes and 17 seconds, and Meltzer gives it only 1 star. Clearly not a fan of the GOATs, Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire.
By Palumbo, and Bradshaw, clothesline from hell! Cover on Palumbo! The APA wins!
We get a promo package for this feud, and it's basically just a bunch of brawls. Both teams are the tag champs for their respective companies. Palumbo and O'Haire just have such awful music here that they end up running to the ring and immediately start fighting, so the production guys will turn it off. After some chaos in the match, Bradshaw hits the clothesline from hell on Chuck Palumbo to get the win. That's about the only notable thing that happens here. What did you guys think of this match?
I didn't have a lot of notes for this one. They're just 4 big hosses just going at it, just throwing some big punches and whatnot, so there's not much to say here. There's nothing really wrong with the match, but I don't know, I didn't really care for it too much, so, I mean, I don't know, just 4 big guys just hitting each other doesn't do it for me, so, I mean, but the actual match wasn't that bad, I suppose, but, yeah, not for me.
What did you think, Nat?
Where to start? The package was better than the match, I think is the best way to put it. We did get to see K-Quick in the package, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
In this one and the main event one. And we got Hardcore Holly in booty jorts. Did anyone see that? He had very short jorts.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Not a good look. I didn't have much notes on the match because nothing really happened, but body-wise, O'Haire and Palumbo definitely had the look, and they looked a hell of a lot better than APA. I just thought they looked like stars compared to them.
Yeah, they had some bright-ass futures, those two.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to that Chuck Palumbo guy. And that Sean O'Haire guy. Palumbo dives into the corner onto Bradshaw and gets caught with a 4-way slam, which I thought was probably the best spot of the match, if I'm honest. And the match happened. 3 count was had, and no one celebrated. Maybe the fans did because it was over.
they're like, oh fuck, we can finally come back to our seats and stop buying popcorn.
Stop buying popcorn and Austin 316 merch.
Well, I thought this was decent enough. I mean, it wasn't a train wreck or anything. Not a technical masterpiece, but I thought it was a little bit better than a 1-star match. Sometimes, you don't need that flippy shit or that technical fucking grappling. Sometimes you just need to watch 4 beefcakes go at it in the ring and just slam each other.
It's true.
Sometimes I just want Chuck Palumbo to go out there and throw absolute potatoes at JBL, and then JBL will fucking rip someone's head off. But yeah, there's really not a lot going on in this match. It's pretty, just by the numbers, I guess. I did enjoy getting to see Sean O'Haire again. Unfortunately, his tights are god-awful. They're your classic, like kind of like Billy Gunn's style tights, but for some reason they like got that extra length to them. It just doesn't look good, and they're real shiny. Just yuck. Teddy Long referees this match, which, all is right in the world when you've got Teddy Long out there refereeing a goddamn tag match. It's just
It's just only natural.
perfect harmony. And my final thought is just, shout out to me playing Chuck Palumbo Inferno matches in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009.
Jeez, you were living it up.
Oh, mate, I'll never forget fucking getting to have him ride his bike to the ring, wrestle. Who else was in that year? Fucking probably, that might have been the year that Tony, the army dude, was in it.
Nice.
So I might have had him wrestle him. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this match. It's pretty, non-eventful. After the match, Jericho and Vince are talking backstage. Jericho warns Vince about Paul Heyman. He makes a Shrek reference, and I fucking hate this promo. I don't know if you guys hate it as much as me, but I just cringed the whole way through it.
Yeah, I didn't really catch that one, mate.
Yeah, me neither.
The promo that he's fucking just cutting about Paul Heyman being fat, I was not a fan.
I mean,
don't blame you.
Shrek is quite fresh at the time, and if this promo was going to be better, it would have been Fozzy playing All Star.
Fozzy should do a cover of All Star, I think, and that should be Jericho's new entrance music.
Yeah, the Smash Mouth effect.
So after that, we see Shane and Stephanie McMahon with Billy Kidman. Steph says she hates Jericho, and Billy Kidman says he's got his match under control. Then Paul Heyman just pops up from out of nowhere to urge Billy to get the win. We then see Billy Kidman defeat X-Pac via pinfall in 7 minutes and 12 seconds. This gets 2 stars.
Bronco Buster time, and Kidman countered. And Kidman knew what was coming now as well. Kidman had X-Pac scouted well, JR. Kidman now going upstairs. And what's he gonna do? Kidman top rope. X-Pac. Oh, man! Shooting star press. Hook to the leg. Kidman got him. The WCW's on the board.
It's a battle of the 2 top, cruiserweights / light heavyweights here. And we get the goddamn X Factor theme here, so you're dealing with the X Factor. What a theme. Fucking shout out to Uncle Cracker.
Oh, no.
It's just so bad. It's just, it's better than X-Pac still wearing DX gear about 5 years after DX stopped being a thing, but it's only a slight upgrade. In this match, X-Pac goes for a Swanton Bomb but misses. He counters a top rope dive from Kidman into the X-Factor, but Kidman ends up kicking out of the pinfall attempt. He attempts the Bronco Buster, but Kidman just ends up kicking him in the nuts. No DQ for some reason here, because the ref, is just standing there and sees it. Kidman then hits his god-awful shooting star press for the win. What did you guys think of the cruiserweights going at it here?
Yeah, you've already made mention of the song, so that's one of my notes gone. Kind of shattered that Billy Kidman wasn't wearing his jorts. That was peak Billy Kidman, but we miss out. And X-Pac heat is just another note I have. That's a thing. And yeah, the match overall, I didn't really care for this one either, but it was fine, I suppose. I just didn't do it for me either.
What did you think, Nat?
Yo, you dealing with the X Factor. Make some noise! I got everything I ever wanted. I feel like that's the only real note I have for this match. Song sucks. The match wasn't horrible, but I didn't find myself getting invested in it. I just sat there watching it, and it probably didn't pop until I saw the WCW PlayStation game shooting star press that Brandon would always do.
Oh yeah, WCW Mayhem, top rope, Billy Kidman can just automatically do the shooting star press every time. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and just not to mention the X-Pac heat with the X-Pac sucks chants.
Yeah, they're still chanting that, even though WWF is supposed to be the good guys here. They still hate him.
I don't blame him when you got this kind of theme song.
Well, this really wasn't what I was expecting from a cruiserweight match. Not really sure what I was wanting to get out of this, but the match we ended up getting was just, I don't know, it was just so underwhelming. I thought Billy Kidman and X-Pac could put on, an entertaining match, 7 minutes of hard-hitting action, and then all of a sudden they get fucking rest holds from X-Pac. Just not at all what I wanted in the middle of this InVasion pay-per-view. We did get a bit of backstory, though, on commentary about how Justin Credible was in X Factor, but he defected when the Alliance started to become a thing, so I really don't know how X-Pac ever recovered from this betrayal.
How could Albert and X-Pac recover? I don't think they can.
It's not even a stable anymore. They've just become a tag team.
Yeah.
Poor X-Pac. That's probably why he got the heat, because Justin Credible betrayed him and then just like, I don't know if I can support this stable anymore. Albert's the Intercontinental Champion, but, I just can't get behind X-Pac. But yeah, that match fucking ends, and then we cut backstage to Steph, Shane, and Heyman celebrating. DDP then comes in and starts being an absolute pervert, so I guess Undertaker's wife is correct in calling him one. We then see Stacey and Tori chatting in front of a bunch of panties. Tori fondles her voluptuous breasts, that's a quote from her, and Stacey shows off her ass. They decide they might give a private show to the Hardys tonight, and the segment ends with Tori spanking Stacey.
They won't get to see these voluptuous breasts. Your breasts and my ass. For fuck's sake, this is wrestling in 2001, guys.
That's the sticky segment of the week.
Sticky segment, holy fuck me. We haven't got to the match yet.
There's two sticky segments of the week, I guess.
They almost stick together.
But God, I'd forgotten just how it was back in the early 2000s. We'd been covering too much 2010s wrestling lately.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've just got to go back to 2001 and realise that this is the kind of shit that they used to put on every week.
It's true.
So after that, we get Raven defeating William Regal via pinfall in 6 minutes and 34 seconds. Dave Meltzer gives it a 1/4 star.
Wait a minute! It's Tazz! ECW's Tazz! Into the ring! That's Raven's teammate! The referee on the outside! And Tazz with a suplex to Regal! What a cheap shot by Tazz! And referee Chad Patton on the outside with Raven. He never saw it coming, and there's the Raven effect! And Regal didn't see the DDT coming! Hook to the leg! Raven wins! Commissioner Regal screwed by Tazz! Raven!
In this match, while the referee is checking on Raven, Tazz runs out and suplexes Regal. Raven then hits the Raven effect and gets the win. What do you guys think of this one?
Yep. I didn't really care for this one either. I never really cared for Raven, to be honest. Like, everything I've ever seen of him was sort of the WWF stuff, which probably wasn't his best work, but just classic Tazz, just with a nice little run in and a suplex. That was good for him getting out there and having a crack. But this match, I didn't really care.
What about you, Nat?
I just wanted to talk about Raven's theme. Good theme, we'll say that.
Oh yeah, with the birds. It's kind of like Diesel's truck theme, but with birds.
Yeah, they just really put a mic to those birds and told them, fucking speak, cunts. I wanted to say the crowd was very dead for this, and they had every right to be. And one quote I pulled for the match was, Raven dresses like a bum. It was like, oh, way to make me hate this match. Thanks, JR. And nothing happened until, for some reason, the janitor, he ran out to the ring and suplexed them. So, don't know what was the deal there. Some brother was just attacking people out there. So this match sucked, and I think Meltzer's very generous giving it a 1/4 star. Their styles just did not work together, and it shows. And this match was also last minute, so there you go.
Yeah, this was just a painfully average match. Like you said, there's no chemistry, and the styles just clash way too much here. Like, sometimes you think when that clashing of styles can make something really interesting and make some magic, but here, William Regal's kind of classical technical style and Raven's, I don't even know what you would call his style, it just doesn't work at all here. It makes a really awkward match where nothing ever flows well, and they really do a good job of making 6.5 minutes feel like fucking 16.5 minutes. It's
I mean, Raven's style is extreme with an X, so
Well, maybe you should have joined X Factor.
what is that exactly? Well, there you go. That's why he's exactly like X Factor. Fucking do this, man.
One of my favourite moments of the match came when Regal and Raven tried to do one of those classic pinning combo spots where they all each do like, oh, it's a roll up, and now it's inside cradle, and now it's fucking this pinning combo, jackknife pin. But it's just so fucking sloppy when they do it, so slow. It just made me laugh my ass off. And I think them fucking that up so badly saved me from like hating this match even more, because without it, it just would have been complete boredom from bell to bell. But yeah, thankfully they don't go any longer than 6.5 minutes. After the match, we see Undertaker shadowboxing while Kane watches on, pretty impressed. Fake Michelle McCool is there too. Vince comes in and says that they can't afford to lose the main event, and Undertaker just refuses to stop shadowboxing throughout until he finally chokes Vince. Fucking Undertaker's a bit of an arsehole here. I don't know if I can get behind this bike Undertaker. He's too much of an outlaw. Next up, we get Chris Kanyon, Hugh Morris, and Sean Stasiak, the absolute dream team, defeating Albert, Billy Gunn, and the Big Show, another dream team, via pinfall in 4 minutes and 23 seconds. Meltzer also gives this one a 1/4 star.
Billy Gunn delivers the famouser to Hugh Morris. And Kanyon receives a right hand from the one Billy Gunn. Billy couldn't go for the cover there because of Chris Kanyon. And Albert's going to take care of Kanyon here. Well, Billy going for the one and only. Sean Stasiak from behind plants Billy Gunn. Here's the cover. A reverse DDT by Stasiak. Hugh Morris into the cover. And Morris, Stasiak, and Kanyon has stolen one.
Big Show comes out with a shirt that has a name on it, that has his name on it, and an arrow pointing down to his cock. Billy Gunn comes out and he just has god-awful music. I don't know.
1 second there. I think this is the Big Show shirt I saw on eBay. Do you know Brody, the one I was talking about the other day?
Not really, but you should buy it if you have seen it.
It was on eBay for $20, $8 delivery on bid. So I think that's a good investment.
I get it, because it's funny, because it says Big Show and then the arrow points to your dick. It's like, your dick is the Big Show.
Yeah, it's just a lot of banter.
Large and in charge.
But yeah, Billy Gunn's music is dog shit. I don't even know if Billy Gunn Facts could defend this entrance theme. Thankfully, after Billy Gunn comes out, we get Albert, who has the X Factor music, and he's also the Intercontinental Champion, so...
things we wanted to forget.
So, I swear to God, I didn't check this, but do the WCW guys come out to Mr. Perfect's music?
It sounds exactly the same. I thought that too.
Yeah, it did sound like it.
He's coming out, and I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds like Curtis Axel's singles theme, which is just like a remix of Mr. Perfect's theme, and I'm like... Why did they give Mr. Perfect's entrance music to these WCW guys?
Maybe they're implying that these three are the perfect team for WCW. Oof. So...
I mean, if they were going to do that, why didn't they have Mr. Perfect, like, manage them or something? He was
it's true.
WCW guy. So, the WCW team attacks the WWF team from behind, but they all end up getting a gorilla press from the WWF guys. Albert hits the A-bomb on Stasiak, but the pin gets broken up. Billy Gunn hits a terrible Fameasser to Morris. Stasiak then comes from behind and hits a reverse DDT and throws Morris on top of Gunn to get the win. After the match, the Big Show gives huge chokeslams to Morris and Stasiak and the alley-oop to Kanyon, which I'd forgotten that was a thing and actually had a name, but it's like a kind of reverse electric chair, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the alley-oop, shout out to when the Big Show used to be a hooper. What did you guys think of this random six-man tag?
Yeah, you've made mention of the shirt, which was great. Big Show shirt, very good. The one Billy Gunn and just hard eyes when I saw him, and then the crowd popped, so I was pretty happy about that. Couple things. The WCW team, they're obviously the heels because I didn't get to hear Who Better Than Kanyon when they came out.
Yeah, sure.
And I kind of wish that Hugh Morris was just Hugh G. Rection. That's a better name. Battle of the NXT head coaches when Albert.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
And old mate builds them up. We're out there, so that was interesting. And then I kind of popped when Stasiak was trying to pin when Morris was the legal man at the end there. And just the last note I have is I'm very glad the alley-oop didn't catch on because fuck, that's the shits. The match, I mean, it was 4 minutes, so not a lot they could do with that with the 6 of them, but they had a crack and it wasn't that bad. I was able to sit through
Had
it.
a crack.
What did you think, Nat?
Well, clearly you guys didn't even remember this tag team of Big Show and Billy Gunn, since none of you mentioned their tag name, the Shoguns.
I don't remember that at all.
They lasted about, I think this is their only TV appearance as a match. And the story was that Big Show was lacking any confidence in his wrestling ability, and the Big Show had to show him the way. The one Billy Gunn, he had to show him the 1999 King of the Ring had to show Big Show how to wrestle. So, but that was a really good story, and then they just chucked Albert in there, and the match it's a clusterfuck, and before you know it, it was over. And if you're strapped for time, I'd be skipping this one.
Yeah, look, this is not good. It's okay for a short filler match, I suppose. Probably better than a quarter star, I guess. Not a whole lot better. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about this. I guess it's cool seeing meat. But
It's his first WWE pay-per-view appearance since I think it's Survivor Series 1998 or 1999.
Oh, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's a big return match.
But yeah, because the team of Chris Kanyon, Hugh Morris, and Sean Stasiak really doesn't do anything for me. Even does the WWF team, to be honest. So there's not a whole lot. I'm doing some research here on why the fuck they come out to a Mr. Perfect theme. And I'm seeing that apparently it's Sean Stasiak's theme. I think it was
nice.
And as far as I can tell, I think in WCW he had something. He was like given a character where he was a parody of Mr. Perfect.
Nice.
And like he feuded with him, and then he got that theme, I think.
Sounds like a good gimmick.
So yeah, that's why he has that. He was with Stacy Keibler as his valet for a bit though. So yeah, that solves the mystery of the random Mr. Perfect theme. Not if you don't know that backstory, it's really random though.
Yeah, that's true.
So after the match, we go backstage and see Booker T with Shane McMahon. Booker is both the heavyweight and United States champion at this point in time, and Shane is pretty pumped because they're up 4-3 at the moment. We then see Tajiri playing around in Regal's office. Regal barges in and makes a match between him and Tazz. We then immediately get that match. It's Tajiri defeating Tazz via pinfall in 5 minutes and 43 seconds. It gets 1 3/4 stars.
Well, Tazz feeling the effects as he shoves referee Timmy White out of the way. Tajiri! Great miss to the eyes of Tazz! Kick to the face! Tazz blinded and walked right into it. Tajiri with a cover and wins! Tajiri stuck one in on Tazz!
Tajiri sprints into the ring and starts the match. Tajiri hits his handspring back elbow. He locks Tazz in the tarantula. And while the referee has his back turned, Tajiri uses the mist and hits a buzzsaw kick for the win. What did you guys think of yet another 5-minute match here?
Yeah, sort of along the same trends as some of the others. Just I didn't really care for this one. WWF Tazz sucks. Not a big fan. His little jumpsuit that he wears. And yeah, good for Tajiri because he's a great guy and he has a lot of banter with William Regal through the years, so that was pretty cool to see. But other than that, and the mist, it was kind of boring.
It is pretty cool to know that like Tajiri and William Regal is kind of a thing here in 2001, and then they would like win the tag belts like in 2005. It was a long running thing. They never forgot that Tajiri and William Regal were the perfect couple.
It's great friends, great relationship.
Good continuity by the writers. Nat, what did you think?
You didn't call me brother. He's not even orange. Taz's favorite color is orange. He doesn't know that. So, quote from SCU on the Australian Tasmanian Devils, but if you didn't know that. I just wanted to say, typical WWE, WWF Japanese music for Tajiri.
His theme's a banger. I'm pretty sure he used that his whole career as well. Did he use that in the Cruiserweight Classic Pricey?
Probably.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, just when you strike gold, you don't change it.
Yeah, it bops. It's a good song.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was really nice of the WWF to give their janitor a match. I came out for a run in earlier, so they said, Janitor Jones, you're going to have a match against the Asian man. And then we got a cool springboard back elbow, which was pretty fucking good. And the crowd was really into it. And I didn't hate it. It was not a bad match. I mean, it was definitely better than the last match we had. So I guess that's all it's going up against.
Well, yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this. I thought it was just a complete filler match, which I think if you actually gave Tajiri and Tazz a bit of time and actually, a chance to tell a bit of a story in the ring, they'd probably have a great match. I'm sure they had many confrontations in ECW, so there's chemistry there. Both can work pretty decently, so it was disappointing to see that they just had sort of a nothing match here. And I don't know why the middle of this card is just... It's like a complete filler. Like, surely they could have built up some more feuds. It feels like they have...
That's true.
Like, they've got the main event, and then, I guess, the bra and panties match has a bit of story to it. And
They had too many guys... There was too many guys in the main event, I guess. When you think about it.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
weird that they do a 10-man tag for the main event when at Survivor Series they repeat it and have another 10-man tag.
Yeah.
You would have thought maybe you go 6-man tag, just the absolute top stars, and then filter the other blokes throughout the card. But they blow their load there, and they really wanted to get those 770,000 buys. But yeah, not a huge fan of this match. It wasn't god awful. I don't think any of these filler matches have been god awful, but not too good after a pretty solid start to the pay-per-view. We cut backstage and see Jeff and Matt Hardy. Matt says he's worried about Jeff tonight, and he's right to be worried because Rob Van Dam sneaks up from behind and hits Matt with a chair. We then see WWF New York, where Hardcore Holly is signing autographs. A man in a WCW shirt goes up to him, and Holly berates him. He then rips the shirt off his back. So don't fuck around with Hardcore Holly, because he'll just steal your shirt. That man had to walk home in the bloody freezing cold just with his nips out. Next up, we get RVD defeating Jeff Hardy, who is the Hardcore Champion, via pinfall to win the Hardcore Championship. It goes 12 minutes and 24 seconds, and Meltzer gives it 4 stars.
There's Rob Van Dam, top rope. Van Dam stalking his opponent. Here it is, 5-star frog splash. Right on the hardcore title, right on the sternum of Jeff Hardy. Van Dam hurt himself, but he hurt Jeff Hardy more. The counter, and Van Dam wins it. Van Dam has won the WWF hardcore title.
In the match, RVD hits Rolling Thunder, but Jeff kicks out. Jeff tries to do his kind of running on the barricade spot, but RVD jumps up and shoves him into the crowd. RVD hits a moonsault in the crowd. He then hits a spinning leg drop on the barricade. Hardy hits a sunset flip off the ring apron. Jeff then grabs out a huge ladder. He climbs it, but RVD pushes him off, and Hardy falls onto the ramp, and JR ends up giving us the classic "How do you learn to fall off a 20-foot ladder" line. We also get the "How's he even able to stand is what I want to know" line, so pretty big night for iconic lines from the Don't Try This at Home video package.
Just a big old Simpsons episode. Full of quotes.
It's weird to know that both of those iconic quotes.
Yeah, I didn't really know that.
I didn't think the 20-foot ladder one came from this. I thought it was from something else. So, JR was on fire for the Invasion pay-per-view.
I mean, I just thought it was from when Shawn Michaels falls off the ladder, because that's when it says it in the package.
I always assumed that as well. And because the ladder Shawn falls off is the 20-foot ladder, so you just naturally assume it. So Van Dam hits a Van Daminator, which knocks Jeff off the stage. Jeff gets busted open. Jeff attempts a Swanton Bomb in the ring, but he misses. RVD then places the hardcore belt on Jeff's chest, hits a frog splash, and gets the win. What do you guys think of the Hardcore Championship match?
Just quickly, I just want to go back to the Hardcore Holly thing, because I had a brainwave. If I was good at editing, I would put Vince's face over Hardcore Holly and an AEW logo over the WCW logo on the shirt, because that's funny, because they're not allowed to wear AEW shirts to WW product.
Oh my god, that is something you should definitely do.
I mean, I don't know how to do it, but I'll study for the next couple of weeks or months. I'm sure it'll still be
Weeks
relevant.
or months?
Yeah. So the mat. Well, I'm not that talented, Nathan. So I've never actually seen this match. I don't think. I don't recall ever seeing it. But geez, they put on a very good match. Very entertaining. Very. Well, I just have here heel RVD is very rare. That's not something I've really seen. Was he heel in a TNA? Maybe. I can't really remember.
Was he in a heel faction though? I think he joined one of them heel factions at some
I'm trying
point.
to think, but
Yeah,
it doesn't really come to mind. But he was a heel in ECW, in original ECW and WWE CW as well. Like when he was appearing on Raw.
Oh right, yeah. See, I've forgotten about that, but yeah, it is very rare. He's very likable. We sort of made mention of some of the spots that were pretty impressive. The sunset flip powerbomb to the outside looked pretty nasty, and then the ladder spot. Jeff was on top of a ladder for no real reason, and then he got pushed off.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well.
You've already made mention. Like I couldn't believe as well that those two quotes that JR had from the "Don't try this at home" was in this match. That's pretty impressive. I thought the Van Daminator was executed pretty well as well, because usually he like throws the chair at them and they catch it and hold it in front of their face for him to kick it. But I don't know, they just timed really well and it looked pretty smooth. I've always appreciated that RVD would sell the frog splash on himself as well. Like if you're landing on someone like that.
I wrote that as well.
Yeah, like he always did it. He always sold it a lot, and
Which makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. You're hitting a big move that impacts you as well off the top rope. Like, yeah. So RVD, very very good stuff, and yeah, the match I can't speak highly enough of it. I haven't seen it. I didn't really have any expectations, and it lived up to being a really good match.
Would you think that?
Well, did anyone notice what Matt Hardy was wearing in the backstage thing?
The old Triple H shirt.
I was about to say Triple H logo on his chest.
Was he actually?
Did Cody really actually mean to take a shot at Matt Hardy?
Oh, he hates Matt Hardy. Fuck.
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like the broken movieverse. Maybe he thinks he's taking the piss out of Stardust.
He hates Matt Hardy's wife.
Exactly.
Big fan
Reeby's
of
a
Ashley
fucking...
Massaro.
Yeah, Rvd Hardy's a fucking shitcoat. Did anyone actually notice the hardcore title was literally falling apart here?
I mean, wasn't it always?
The tape in Jeff's entrance, he pulls the belt off, and the tape on it is actually falling off.
I was just impressed that Jeff wore the hardcore title, because I don't remember anybody ever wearing it. They just like kind of
no one held it for long enough.
Yeah.
But Jeff wearing it, it's like fucking respect for the belt, Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's very true. We also got a pretty sick spot, the apron to barricade leg drop from RVD. I was just amazed by that one. That was some classic ECW stuff right there. They really made the hardcore title mean something in this match, and like that's pretty hard to say. It's probably they do a match like this. They did a match like this in WWE for the 24/7 title, or if it's going to be jobbers only.
Yeah.
I was surprised refs don't do what this ref did more often in street fights, and that's hold the belt around, because it made it feel like the title would actually change hands outside the ring. Because otherwise it's like, it doesn't really make sense. So I thought that was really good, like another small story thing that we got. And yeah, loudest crowd reaction we got so far, and the worst we got the worst part of Edge and Christian's podcast every week, the 5-star frog / review. If anyone listens to the Edge and Christian podcast, you know what I'm talking about. And this was a really good match, and 4 stars, pretty darn good.
Yeah, not much more I can add to that. It's a hell of a match, and I think this is probably the best hardcore title match I have ever seen. Far and away, I would say, and I've seen several hardcore title matches because we covered Test's career.
That's true.
But yeah, I think this is the first time I've ever seen a hardcore title match where the match was like actually a match. Because the other high profile ones, like you've got the WrestleMania 16 clusterfuck, like battle royal, complete fuck up that they do, and then
and then 17,
where they're just like fucking driving all over the arena, doing wacky shenanigans. So I think this is like the first time they have like a proper hardcore title match between two guys who can just like actually have like a really good match as well as doing the hardcore spots. So
yeah,
I think, like, I mean, the hardcore belts remembered pretty fondly. But I think if they kind of transitioned into using it more like this, maybe if they get rid of the 24/7 rule, it probably would have, I don't know, maybe it would be remembered even better. I do know that from RVD winning this belt, he becomes like the longest reigning hardcore champ from this. Like he holds it for I think like 90 days or something. And basically nobody even tries to, like, they don't cancel the 24/7 rule or anything. They just they're too busy fighting the bloody war between the Coalition and WWF to sneak up on him and pin him while he's asleep.
It's true.
But yeah, the crowd is extremely hot for this match. I was impressed with how over RVD was. I don't think he would have probably performed in front of a WWF crowd that often. I mean, not a whole lot of people watching ECW, but still, he gets probably the biggest pop of the night. So I can just, I agree with Meltzer here. 4 stars probably for this one. And yeah, it's a good bounce back from all of the sort of filler matches in the middle of the card. Any final thoughts before we move on from the hardcore title?
No, I think we nailed it.
No, hurry the fuck up. We get to the next match. Woo-hoo.
Well, before we get to that, we have to see Kurt Angle walk into Vince's office and get a pep talk. But after that ends, we get Lita and Trish Stratus defeating Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson in a bra and panties tag team match with special guest referee Mick Foley. It goes 5 minutes and 4 seconds, and Meltzer was too busy cranking it to give a rating here.
Typical.
Typical Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer was probably a virgin, to be honest.
Oof.
He's too busy fucking typing up his newsletter for dorks to kiss a girl.
I said it all along. You want to be a winner, you take Stacy's pants.
Lita off the top rope. And Stacy's pants are coming down. We have a winner.
So we get a promo package for this, and it recaps the feud, which basically Stacy and Tori, they get Jeff and Matt Hardy at full chub, and Lita doesn't like that. The entrance is here. Stacy comes out just wearing her best business casual, not anything revealing. She's just wearing a pair of slacks.
Yeah, because that's a WCW gimmick.
Yeah, but you can't be coming out to wear slacks for a wrestling match. What are you, Baron Corbin?
That's true.
Lita rips off Stacy's top to kick things off. Stacy and Tori double team Lita to take off her shirt. Tori then rips off Trish's top, but the roles are immediately reversed and Tori gets her pants ripped off. Trish and Lita then double team her to rip off her top. Lita hits a moonsault to Stacy and they strip her too. Trish and Lita then almost fall off the stage while walking to the back. What did you guys think of the first ever bra and panties tag team match? Is history being made here?
I'm glad you said that, because I have here that WWE always makes mention of the first ever that the women do, and this should be highlighted as the first ever tag team bra and panties match. History made on this tonight, and I have here that I can't believe they actually got a video package for this match. That's very interesting. Obviously not a technical masterclass or anything, but it's definitely a match that happened on the card, and yeah, the word you've used in your note there, Brandon, sticky, makes sense, I think.
What did you think, Nat?
A couple of Jezebels and Hersies. I'm not really going to go in too deep for the match, obviously, but just Tori's ass was pretty good. I mean, if we're rating moves in this match, her ass movement was good. Just the poetry in motion was pretty good, I guess.
Man, I gotta stop you there. I fucking hate Lita's poetry in motion where she would do
well, at least there was one move.
Clothesline.
There was one move in this match.
What, you're not a fan? Actually, no, I'm gonna stop you there. I was a fan of Tori Wilson when she was stomping on Trish Stratus's hair, and then she would pull her up by the top and pull on her hair. I thought that was actually a pretty innovative move in this match.
I used to do that all the time, mate. And look, my last note is just pure, simple, 3 letters, and it rhymes with cum, and it's yum.
Well, I don't know if I can follow that. Like Pricey said, this is a very sticky match. It just couple of girls on each side just trying to rip each other's clothes off. You know, that's really what wrestling was all about in 2001.
That's what you want.
Apparently these are the women worth keeping for WCW. You know what? I'd probably agree.
They didn't really have any women's wrestlers though. They didn't.
Because Molly Holly jumped ship, so she was already WWF, and then Stacey and Tori Wilson were over, and then there was like DDP's wife, and that's about it. Maybe there's one of the Nitro girls that Shawn Michaels married. You could have brought her in maybe, but you kind of strapped for the women. But I don't know, the crowd's into it, so you can't really fault it too much. It's not really a proper wrestling match. Doesn't go too long. And I feel like it could be a lot worse. Lita and Trish weren't great in 2001. That was still pretty green, and obviously Stacey and Tori never really became great wrestlers. So I think, for the time, considering who the participants here, it wasn't too bad. I think just obviously the real winner of this was Mick Foley for being in the middle of it.
That's true.
Disappointed they didn't do the classic catfight spot where they roll on top of him.
Yeah, they missed a good opportunity there.
Honestly, every time you have a sort of match like this, if it doesn't result in them rolling over the referee and him getting up and kind of like having to fix his clothes, it's like, what's the point? But we get history made there with that. But unfortunately, we've got to move on. That's not the main event to this huge event. After the match, we see the Alliance getting pumped up backstage. We then see Stone Cold and Deborah. Vince comes in and Stone Cold says that he's here to whip ass. That leads us to the main event, but before we get there, we've got Nat's trivia.
Aha, goddamn pal. It's now time for Nat's Pissant Trivia. Ooh, how you going, boys? Trivia score. Pricey on 14, Brandon on 13. How are we?
Thank you for having me on the show.
That's okay.
I'm just ready to answer questions about Tori Wilson.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. You got your thinking cap on, because this week's trivia is sponsored by Cracker Barrel. Leave it in the ring and leave everybody confused.
What an awful moment that was.
It didn't really get explained.
They didn't even make any acknowledgement of it while they're doing the announcements or anything, and then
apparently. They didn't really have any acknowledgement of Cracker Barrel, but apparently when you bought a certain amount of merch, you got biscuit party hats.
Lit.
What? Biscuit party hats? What?
Yeah, like the Super Kick Party, like the Young Bucks, but it's biscuits, from
That's a thing?
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. I thought it was to show how smart and cunning that Chris Jericho is to get the barrel out.
They had to emphasize how fucking dumb their referee is.
Oh god.
Exactly.
So here we go. Question 1. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's go.
I guess so.
Alrighty. What was the original name for this pay-per-view?
Ooh.
Before they knew it was going to be called InVasion.
Vengeance.
Incorrect.
Jesus, what would they call this?
I'll give you a hint. They used it, I think, the year before 2000.
Oh.
Maybe.
Can I have another guess, maybe?
Armageddon?
Incorrect. I'll give you another guess, but it won't be for points.
Fully Loaded, maybe?
That is correct.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so you would have had that one in Brody. So
this was just going to be a fully loaded pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, before they were going to go with the invasion angle.
Well, bring back fully loaded, Bring back Over the Edge as well. Just because a dude died at it doesn't mean you have to fucking hide it away forever.
We got Over the Limit. That's all right.
Same thing.
Bring that back.
Vroom. Yeah, the car theme. So, question 2. When is Sean O'Hare's next pay-per-view appearance?
Backlash 2003.
Correct. Dang.
Love me some Sean O'Hare.
Yeah, you got the Sean O'Hare mark over here. Of course he's going to get that right.
Yeah, well, you've got to research every facet of this the pay-per-view. Question 3. This pay-per-view marks the first time 2 what faced off?
Referees?
Correct.
I was going to say 2 teams of women faced off in a bra and panties match.
I mean, if you had got that in, I would have probably given it. Because, I said 2 watts. I didn't actually think about that, so I would have given it. All right, question 4. Get your outside thinking caps on.
Oh, Mark Bibby.
Incorrect.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay. Who faced the Lakers in the 2001 final?
The Sacramento. No, that's not.
The Nets?
Incorrect.
Fuck. Oh, no. Oh. I know who it is.
I'll give you 5 seconds. 3,
The Sixers.
1. There we go. Correct.
Ooh, Dikembe Mutombo.
All right. Question 5. What team was John Cena on in the NBA tag match?
The
Lakers.
Lakers.
Brody's correct. Got in there by B's dick.
Skin in my teeth.
Yeah, see, some very different trivia. All right, question 6. This is
Why did you have an NBA question then?
because it had the Lakers in the question 4, and then the next one that also had the Lakers in. So
It was also the anniversary recently of the Team Lakers versus
there you
Team
go.
Nuggets match.
Okay.
there you go. So question 6, gonna really have to think here. But I want you guys to finish the quote. I'm gonna take care of that smelly, greasy, nasty animal, and I'm
Talking
What?
about... and I'm going to take care of you too, Rhino.
correct.
Is that right? Yeah.
I would never have got that.
I'm gonna get you too, Rhino.
Jericho with some witty lines back then.
Yes. So question 7, we're at Brandon on 2, Brody on 3. So let's get stuck in. Question 7. Out of the 10 wrestlers in the main event, how many appeared at Double or Nothing?
1, 2, 2.
Brody's correct too.
Bullshit. Booker T appeared. He just didn't see him. He ran too quick across the
I
screen.
mean, he was at Starcast.
Was
Does that
Booker T
count?
at StarCast?
Yeah, of course he was.
Oh, good on him. They might have had a main event Mafia reunion there.
So obviously it was Jericho in the main event, and you had Diamond Dallas Page in the semi-main, I guess.
Bang.
So question 8. Who did WCW alumni Jeff Jarrett lose to in February this year?
Elias?
Correct.
Oh, I thought you meant 2001.
No,
don't know.
I said this year.
I know, but I thought, yeah.
Like, Jeff Jarrett wasn't
well.
losing any matches in 2001.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Question 9. Closest answer wins for this one. Brandon's on 3, Brody's on 4. It's getting down the nitty-gritty.
Oof.
Alright, closest answer wins. Team WWF. How many World and WWE title reigns do they have combined?
Ooh.
Just for the main event people.
Wait.
The 5.
Wait.
The 5 people in the main event.
What world titles are you counting? Like, from which promotions?
WWE, World Heavyweight title, and technically the WCW title.
So just like
And-
WWE owned
And
like,
the
companies.
ECW, yes.
So not like
and the
TNA
ECW
or
title.
anything.
No.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, that's a good question. Probably
How many combined reigns do they have?
7.
Fun fact, guys. Kurt Angle won the IWGP World Championship.
I'm going to say 38.
I think 31.
Brody is closest. It's 28.
Oh, I
Only
overshot.
28.
I will go through one sec. Bang.
I thought Jericho roughly about 6. Is that right?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
confused.
Jericho 6.
Kane.
Confused on Jericho and
Kane-
Kane. How many they
Kane
had.
3.
Kane 3. You know that. ECW and W title. Angle 6.
Yeah, I thought about 6 for that. How many
Angle
did Austin
6,
got?
Jericho 6, Austin 6.
And Taker was like 7?
Taker 7, then 3. So,
Okay.
yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So we go question 10. Once again, the closest answer wins. How many tag titles do the Dudleys have across every single promotion?
26
Tag titles.
something? Is it 26? I'm going to say 26.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know they're 9-time in WWE. 22? I don't know.
Brandon's closest. He just by B's dick. It is 25.
Wow, that's a lot.
It didn't seem like that much. I thought they would have had more just because of the TNA run. but they only had 3 in TNA.
Well, obviously Bubba Ray needs to hire Devon to win the Ring of Honor tag titles.
That's true.
Hire Spike as well, and they can win the 6-man belts.
That is true. So, Brody, you've taken this one bit out, but I'm going to give a bonus question. How many impressions did my Elix Skipper tweet get? Closest answer wins.
Impressions.
2,943.
You are way off.
Lowballing.
You lowballed that so much. Oh my god.
I think you said it was over 6,000 at one point, so but maybe 10,000?
Yeah, I mean, you'd win. It's at 9,171 at the moment.
Killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Killed it with that tweet. Didn't know people gave a fuck about Elix Skipper.
Oh, people love generic dudes from the early 2000s who did one cool thing.
So that brings a close to trivia for this week. And once again, Brody's the victor, and he's now got a 2-run lead onto the board. Brandon, have you got anything to say for yourself? It's a poor performance today.
There wasn't enough Sean O'Hare questions. If there was more Sean O'Hare,
there was one, wasn't there? Yeah, there was.
Yeah, but one question doesn't make a winner. You got to win. You probably got to get at least 4, maybe 5 right. So
hey, I've got to make it even. I didn't have any Lance Storm trivia, Brody, because people would have got it. So I tried to make it even.
Good stuff.
So that's the end of trivia, boys.
Well, we move on to the main event of InVasion now. It's Booker T, Bubba Ray Dudley, Devon Dudley, Diamond Dallas Page, and Rhino defeating Chris Jericho, Kane, Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, and The Undertaker via pinfall in a 10-man tag team match. It goes 29 minutes and 3 seconds and gets 3.5 stars. So we get a promo package recapping all of the InVasion shenanigans here. The teams bizarrely take it in turns to make entrances here. They literally alternate between a WCW, ECW guy and then a WWF guy. Real weird choice. So everybody starts brawling on the outside of the ring before Stone Cold comes out. His music then hits and he joins in on the chaos. Bubba hits a Bubba Bomb on Angle. Booker hits a scissor kick to Angle, but Undertaker breaks up the pin. The Dudley Boys hit their classic headbutt to the nuts on Angle. Angle gets a tag to Austin, but the referee doesn't see it, so he doesn't let Austin join in. DDP hits the Diamond Cutter on Angle. All hell ends up breaking loose in the middle of the ring, and Rhino accidentally gores Booker. Undertaker chokeslams DDP. He goes for the last ride, but Charles Robinson runs in and stops him. Taker then gives him the last ride, and it is a hell of a last ride, hell of a bump from Lil H. He then chases after DDP through the crowd. Austin has apparently hurt his knee here, and a medic comes out to attend to him. Meanwhile, Devon and Bubba grab a table and they lean it up against the barricade. Kane chokeslams Devon through the announce table. Bubba and Rhino then suplex Kane through the Spanish announce table. Jericho comes out of nowhere and jumps from the apron and takes Rhino through the table that was set up against the barricade. Angle hits the angle slam on Bubba in the ring and locks the ankle lock in on Booker T. However, Booker shoves him off and into Mike Chioda, who goes flying out of the ring. Vince then throws the WWF Championship to Kurt, but Shane intercepts it and hits his dad with it. Kurt hits Booker with an angle slam and locks in the ankle lock again, which makes him tap. Austin rolls Chioda in, but then hits Angle with a stunner, leading to Booker getting the pin. What did you guys think of the main event of this event?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. This was just a whole lot of Attitude Era nonsense towards the end, which is probably the exciting stuff. The final 5 or so minutes, where everyone was just brawling everywhere, and I don't know where Undertaker went to. Might have patched things up with DDP in the back and had an ice cream or something. Yeah, but I thought, I mean, you can tell like this invasion angle was, it was kind of stuff from the start. If WCW's got, like, I mean, Booker T's like the only one that became a main eventer in WWE, and then you've got 5 world champions, all like top name talent on the other side. So, you know, then you have to put Stone Cold on the other side, like to even it up. It just doesn't make sense. So, I thought it didn't really make sense. Like, this match didn't have any repercussions or anything? Like, what was the point of winning the match? Just to breaking rights? Like,
That was the inaugural brawl, you know? They really wanted to shove that name down our throats. I have no idea what the meaning of it was, but it's an inaugural brawl.
You mentioned it before, like, they ended up doing this again for Survivor Series, so to do it here, I don't know, like, the Survivor Series one made sense because it was, like, for everything for the company, so, yeah, I just, I mean, the match was fine, it was fun towards the end, so, I mean, there's no complaints, I just thought the logic behind it didn't really make too much sense, and I guess it was cool that Austin turned heel.
What did you think, that?
Yeah, you know, the inaugural brawl. I mean, when was the next one? I mean, there was lots of loud yelling before the match in the backstage area. Deborah's face is pretty ugly, if you ask me. Is that a cheap shot? I don't know. What a package, though. It really helps us pick up the story since we're only picking up this pay-per-view, and I think it did a really good job telling us the backstory of this. It was just a case of, we need the old Austin. And what a rib having Stephanie own Paul Heyman. I think that's just a big dick energy by the McMahons to do that. Vince is a mega face here. I mean, not much has changed because people still fucking cheering when he comes out. We get to see a real kick-ass Austin pop. It's a brawl, but it's a tag match. I mean, you tell me what's wrong with that. Kurt Angle was very over. The sides are very one-sided when you compare them on a scale, like the Dudley Boys, DDP, Booker. That team doesn't really stack up to the WWF team. Fucking JR, once again, shits on the talent. Says, Brandon Rooney, give me a break. It's like, fuck off. That's his finisher. Like, it's like his lead up to the finisher. Like, you're a cunt for saying that. The crowd's going nuts for Austin. The match keeps dragging on. It went way too long. I like the false finish tag, or not false finish, but the false tag and the pop for Austin. And we get the unexpected Austin turning heel once again, twice in the same year. And it was just huge. And a throwback to this terrible song, Rah, 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 living inside you.
Weren't a fan of the lyrical version of Stone Cold's theme?
No, I definitely was not a fan of this lyrical version. I mean, he was better off just having a Limp Bizkit song. I mean, I'm going to be honest, Dave Meltzer, you're very generous giving this 3 stars. I mean, it didn't do it for me. I found that this match just dragged and I didn't really get much out of it. And calling it a brawl, for some reason, I don't know. Before I watched this a couple months ago, I genuinely thought this was just them in a ring fighting each other. Because it's literally named the inaugural brawl. So, like, I don't know. It is what it is. Kind of a cool end to the pay-per-view with Austin turning. I mean, it really sets up the Survivor Series angle. So, I guess that's all right.
Well, I thought this match was a pretty fun spectacle. It does drag a little bit. And initially when I was going into watching this match, I thought it was going to be like literally Survivor Series rules because I saw it was 29 minutes long. Yeah. I was like, surely it's 29 minutes long because they've got to do all these eliminations. But no, it's just 29 minutes of action. And I don't know, I don't think a 10-man tag works going for that long. But, I mean, it does get carried quite a bit by the fact that there's so many big names out there and the crowd's really into it. So I think that kind of covers up for it being extremely lengthy. I do think I really don't like the Stone Cold turn at the end here. Maybe I'd probably like it a bit better if Austin didn't turn heel at Mania. Maybe if this was the first time Austin had turned heel, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But, yeah, having him for the second time is kind of like, whatever. And I think I would have liked it a lot more. I know it was kind of out of their hands if the finish involved, like, one of those big, like, superstar named WCW guys making their first appearance here and kind of costing the WWF. Like, imagine if you got, like, a Flair or a Sting or, like, even a Kevin Nash to be the guy that kind of costs the WWF rather than, it's Stone Cold. I think that would have made it a really, truly memorable match instead of being something that's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like tag match is never really talked about. But yeah, like I did enjoy it. It wasn't anything like amazing, but it still I think was solid. I did remark, note down that Stephanie McMahon Helmsley's initials are SMH, so
Shaking my head.
That was kind of cool. Shaking my head, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
Fair enough. That's me when she comes out on Raw.
You mentioned Limp Bizkit, Nat, but shout out to WWE's favourite band in the whole world, Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
Fucking Undertaker comes out with Rollin'.
The Taker boy.
And it's still relevant in 2 years' time when he comes out to the live version. So that just shows you how good of a song Fred Durst made. Did enjoy on commentary that Jim Ross let us know that Rhino is a blue chipper.
Alright, the blue chipper. He put his test and the Rock.
He put his bias aside and he's like, you know what? I hate this goddamn alliance, but that Rhino in there is a goddamn blue chipper. Little bit of trivia here. Kurt Angle is the only man in this match who never worked for either WCW or ECW.
He almost did.
He did come close to working with ECW, and Kane almost qualifies for working for neither company. However, he worked one single match in WCW, a loss to Sting. So,
if we count WWE, ECW later on.
Oh, he ran that fucking show.
Same with Kurt Angle, yeah.
But Kurt Angle hated it so much he quit and then had to go to TNA. So
there you go.
I thought it was extremely sad when Bubba Ray Dudley put his boot up in the corner and called for a double team to Devon, only to be ignored.
Oh, the Reverend, he turned on him.
He even yelled out to him, he's like, oh yeah, double team or something. And then he Irish whipped him into the other corner. I was like, oh no. I thought you guys were brothers. And then I was getting really worried. I was like, oh shit, is Bubba going to be the one to turn? And finally, just, DDP has cool velvet pants.
Yeah, I mean, Test might have stolen his gear for the night, the vinyl pants.
And also, I didn't have it here, but I think I need to mention it. DDP's cool vest with the lightning bolts on it.
It was a good vest, actually. It was really nicely, what's the name for it? The airbrush.
It looks very Hollywood Hogan, like the lightning bolt stuff. Which, yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of that look, so got a new DDP. But yeah, any final notes on this main event match before we move on?
No, I think that's it.
Well, I've got to ask you boys, what did you think was the best match of InVasion 2001?
I don't think I'll be the only one that thinks that Jeff Hardy and Rvd was probably the match of the night. Closely followed by the Brian Penny's match, but yeah, just slightly above. I'd go Hardy and down.
What did you think, Nat?
Yeah, I think this is a unanimous decision. Hardy. What a showing.
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be a unanimous decision that Sean Stasiak's match was match of the night.
I love a good meat sandwich.
I mean, he had Mr. Perfect's theme. So,
that's true.
Like, what more could you ask for? But no, yeah, it's easily far and away the hardcore title match. It's head and shoulders above anything else. There are a few pretty solid matches here, but nothing even scratches the surface of what those two boys did in that match. What did you guys think was the worst match on the card?
Yeah, I was going through them just a minute ago to try and figure it out, and I think you might be a little upset, but I'm just going to go with the Sean O'Hare match with Big Chuck and the APA. A lot of the ones through the middle weren't great, but yeah, I'll go with that one. You could pick any of those middle ones, but yeah, sorry, Sean O'Hare.
What about you, Nat?
I'm gonna go with Raven and William Regal. Nothing happened in it, and I think it just sucked all around.
Yeah, I'm picking Raven, William Regal. It was kind of like hilariously bad. Nothing of note happens in it, and they just have zero chemistry. So there are a few stinkers throughout the middle, but I think that was the worst of the worst. So finally, what are your boys' overall thoughts on InVasion as a pay-per-view?
Had some pretty, the opener was good, and the main event, is pretty solid, has a memorable finish to the match and something pretty important for the storyline going forward. And then the hardcore match was good, so there were some pretty good moments, but just some sort of average matches through the middle. And like we said before, I mean, the main event having 10 of the top names in one match probably took away from the star power they could use throughout the middle of the show. So, I mean, pretty okay show, I would have thought, but just lacking a little bit through the middle.
What did you think, Nat?
Easy way to describe it. It's a good pay-per-view, but the filler in the middle of the show really holds the overall show back.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement there. I don't think it's as bad as some people kind of look back on it as. I think this is actually a pretty decent pay-per-view from the InVasion era. But yeah, there's a lot of filler matches that are clearly just thrown together without a whole lot of thought. And, they kind of bog the pay-per-view down a little. There are some genuine gems in here, though, so it's not a complete waste of time to fire up the network and, relive this very historic night. They've got the first ever tag team bra and panties match.
History.
Yeah, everyone remembers where they were when that happened. So, the aftermath of InVasion 2001, on the July 26th episode of SmackDown, Shane McMahon would extend an invitation to The Rock, who had not been seen since the Raw after WrestleMania 17, to join the Alliance. Also that night, Kurt Angle would challenge Booker T to a WCW World Heavyweight Championship match, which Booker accepted. The WWF would gain momentum when Angle made Booker T submit with an ankle lock, taking the WCW Championship away from the Alliance. Angle's title run proved to be short-lived, though, as Booker T won it back on the July 30 episode of Raw. On that same episode of Raw, The Rock would return and align himself with the WWF, leading to a WCW Championship match between himself and Booker T at SummerSlam, which The Rock would win, marking the second time the WCW Championship belt had changed sides to the WWF. On the same show, Austin would retain his WWF Championship against Angle via disqualification. Kurt Angle would end up defecting to the Alliance because he wanted to be on the winning side. On the November 5 episode of Raw, Vince McMahon countered Kurt Angle's defection by stating that a member of Team Alliance would defect during the match at the upcoming Survivor Series. At Survivor Series, the WWE would win the winner-takes-all Survivor Series match after Kurt Angle would again switch sides. I wanted to get your boys' thoughts on the InVasion storyline as a whole.
I sort of said it before, they don't have the star power to make it something that it would have been pretty insane if you had those big names from WCW, like you mentioned, Sting and Flair, Hogan, all those guys. So if they had done that, the storyline would have been it would have been very historic, really, and something we probably would never see again. But it felt, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it was the real WCW invading because of it was a lot of lesser name stars along with DDP and Booker T. So, and I don't know, it wasn't great, I don't think.
What are your thoughts on the storyline, Nat?
I'll just sum it up in a sentence. It's just poorly executed, but the lack of talent holds them back, so it's not really their fault. Unless they held this story back for a whole year, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the storyline it cops a bit too much flack. It's not amazing, but I don't think it's as terrible as some people make it out. They really couldn't, they can't force the top name guys to not just sit out their contract. They're getting paid big bucks to literally do nothing. So unless they're kind of like Booker T, where they just really fucking want to work, then they're not going to just opt out of those contracts. Yeah, obviously it could have used more big names, but it's a decent enough storyline. I think, though, by Survivor Series, you really notice how much they lack, actual proper WCW and ECW talent. I've got the card here, and it's just every match. It's basically just WWF guys going at it. There's a match for the European Championship between Al Snow and Christian is part of the Alliance. And there's William Regal and Tajiri, and William Regal's part of the Alliance. Edge and Test's part of the Alliance. The Dudley Boys have a tag match, so they're actually an Alliance member. There's a Divas match, and there's Ivory, Jazz, and Molly Holly as Alliance members. And then the main event, Team Alliance, has Booker T, Kurt Angle, RVD, Shane McMahon, and Stone Cold. So 3 of the 5 aren't even like really like proper.
Sorry,
Yep.
just got a Snapchat.
Nice. I appreciate that.
I thought that was going to be relevant to
Yeah.
the invasion. I was like, what is that?
Jeez, we've peaked.
But yeah, like
Sounds nice.
Team Alliance, like outside of Booker T and RVD, it's really not actually WCW or ECW guys. So they really could have used like even a Scott Steiner to help them out.
I mean, I guess the problem there was like either wait, like you guys said, like they could have waited until those guys were out of contract to do it, but yeah, there probably wouldn't have been any buzz about it because it's not like WCW's would have been gone for years at that point. So I guess they sort of had to pull the trigger on it then and try and get out of it what they could.
Yeah, like they really would have had to waited until like 2003 to do it, because that's when you get Goldberg, and then like it's like late 2002 Steiner comes in, like same with like Hogan and the Outsiders. So yeah, it's like, and then Sting like never comes at all. So you really probably couldn't bank on waiting that long. And I mean, in the meantime, you would have had to been paying all these other WCW guys to like do nothing, or I don't know. I don't know how the invasion could have worked like as ideally as some fans kind of want.
You could have waited until Sting came to WWE and just done it in 2015.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good, you know. Have that 100-year-old Ric Flair. Yeah, that would have been great. I mean, Goldberg still would have been in shape, so that would have been fine.
Yeah, he's a beast. He'll do whatever. He'll go in 5 years from now. He can do the storyline.
People would have been real hyped for an invasion in the mid 2010s, because they would have seen like Kevin Nash dominating the X division. Like, this guy can still go. And then when he finally shows up, they're like, "Fuck, Kevin Nash, former X division champion." The crowd would have just absolutely brought the roof down. So that basically does it for this episode. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks podcast. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at WrestleHunksPod. I'm on Twitter as @SourceMarlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @EvilBrodyPrice. And Nat is on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, all good services that support podcasts, and feel free to give us a rating. We've now come to the part of the podcast where each member suggests a show to cover for next week's episode that gets put up into a Twitter poll, and the fans decide what we review next week. And with NXT TakeOver 25 just around the corner, we've got a bit of a NXT theme here. I've decided to throw up NXT Arrival, which I know basically nothing about this. I just know that it's like the first Full Sail kind of NXT event of note. But yeah, can't say I've ever watched it. Can't say NXT was on my radar at this point, but you've got some great matches here. You've got Cesaro and Sami Zayn that gets 4.25 stars. Mojo Rawley and CJ Parker, just the 1 star. The Ascension and Too Cool have just a barn burner for the tag titles. Paige and Emma go at it. Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze have a match. And then Neville wins the NXT Championship in the main event off everyone's favourite NXT champion, Bo Dallas. Woo! So it's a bit of a banger of a show. What are you chucking into the poll, Pricey?
Well, I was up against it when you guys said that all the other options were going to be NXT related or Nexus related. So I've gone with probably the most important moment in history is when my man CM Punk took over control of Nexus on Raw, January 3, 2011. So there's a Falls Count Anywhere match between The Miz and John Morrison for the WWE title. So that's got to be a bit of a classic. And then the main event's a cage match for the number 1 contendership of the WWE title, Orton, Sheamus, and Wade Barrett. So
think about what you just said though. Miz versus John Morrison for the WWE title.
Exactly.
2005. That match is not happening ever.
That guy from the reality show and the guy that's in the tag team Eminem.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. So Yeah, I've just gone with. I mean, that's pretty important. Punk winning the. Not winning him taking over control of the Nexus. So I'll go with that.
Nat, what are you throwing into the poll?
Well, I'm throwing into the poll Nexus invading Raw on the June 7th, 2010 episode of Raw. And if you give me a bit of time, there's a lot to do. We will have plenty to talk about. It starts off that there's 3 guest hosts because of the movie A-Team.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so we get Bradley Cooper, Quinton Rampage Jackson, and Shalto Copley. And there we go. And Matt Strike is announcing the results because it's Viewers' Choice Night. And we also have the appearance of Gene Oakland, DiBiase, Virgil, lots of legends. Dark match. You got, for some reason, remember it's 2010. Chris Masters defeats Kalen Croft and Trent Beretta in a handicap match.
No, Trent.
Because it's 2010. But then we get the show started with the first match. You can already tell these polls are rigged because first match is a body slam challenge between Big Show and Chris Jericho when one of the options is submission match. The only one that could possibly be real, at the start of the show, Teddy Long says, what do you want to see for Orton and Edge? And they have the options of, and get this, a debate, a sit-up contest, or a one-arm match with Edge's arm tied behind his back, because that seems fair. We got some great matches, like the Hart Dynasty's opponents, which are Great Khali and Hornswoggle. The crowd decided not to choose the Dude Busters as the team to first. Possibly maybe the only one that was fan voted correctly was Santino Marella versus Vladimir Kozlov. 9% said match, 84% said dance off. You got Divas Battle Royal, Sheamus gets an opponent, some fucking tag partners no one gives a fuck about. Matt Hardy makes a return here, and then we get the main event, John Cena versus CM Punk, where we get to see the Nexus come out and cause this match to be a no contest, and they attack everyone.
That's a bumper episode of Raw.
It's a genuinely stacked episode of Raw. I mean, like, there's a lot. Even Tamina's on this card. I mean, she's with the Usos, and some trivia for next week. They're incorrectly listed as John and Jay Uso in the match graphics.
Oh, I love John Uso.
So that's something to look forward to if my option gets up and I rig the poll once again.
Well, the wildcard entry for this week is the first ever NXT episode taped at Full Sail University. And there's just, it's a who's who of bloody wrestling on this TV taping. First of all, in the dark match, it was Xavier Woods and Dean Ambrose. So what a way to warm up the crowd. But then we've got Bo Dallas defeating Rick Victor via pinfall. So shout out to when Victor had a first name.
Yeah,
then in the second match, we've got Conor O'Brien, Conor the Rat, and Kenneth Cameron. Does anyone know who that is?
Nope.
Cameron from the Funkadactyls.
No, unfortunately. It's actually Bram.
Oh,
Nice.
So yeah, he's down there in NXT. They defeat CJ Parker and Mike Dalton, aka Tyler Breeze.
yeah.
And then in the main event, you get Tyson Kidd defeating Michael McGillicuddy via submission.
Jesus.
So it's just a barn burner of a way to start off NXT. And I think it's like JR and some random dude on commentary. So that'll be a bit of a laugh to listen to. Yeah, I can't say I've ever watched early NXT. It'll be interesting to see what it's like. Interesting to see what the setup is, and see if the crowd's full of smarks like it is these days. But yeah, it's a stacked poll this week. Something tells me that Nat's option's going to win yet again.
I mean, maybe I'll just do another tweet out saying to vote for it.
Well, I might tag Rick Victor in a tweet and say, "Oh, retweet this poll and make everyone vote for first episode of Full Sail." But yep, that's all for this episode. Do you boys have any final words before we sign off here?
No, Double or Nothing was this past weekend, so Nat and I will talk about that later in the week. And NXT TakeOver 25, big milestone. So, did we make mention that's why we're doing the poll NXT themed? Or?
I think maybe.
Well, I mean, yeah. If we didn't, that's the reason why. And Nat and I will be throwing out our predictions for that event on this week's episode. So, tune into that.
Any final words from you, Nat?
Just buddy, stay on your toes for some more classic content from yours truly on Twitter. I mean, I'm just famous out here. I'm living life.
Social media influencer.
Wrestling Twitter influencer.
I'm a pro wrestling influencer. I am iconic.
You're almost at the level of R.Dream.
I mean, I wish, because she is very good at getting their brand over.
Just pretend to be a woman and you'll go to that next level.
Well, I told Brody I should start calling myself Natalina or something. Just see how that gets over.
Yeah, just go type into Google Images like pretty girl and then make that your...
I'll get Brody to do his amazing photoshops. Buddy, I don't know, a Roman Reigns hoodie or something.
Put a Tamina shirt on, but I really love Tamina.
See, that would make me seem like I'm a really good fan.
Well, with that said, with Nat becoming absolute Twitter influencer, that's all for this week, and stay hunky.